Let's set the scene. It's late March 1865. Sheridan's cavalry is pushing west, targeting a critical Confederate supply junction at Five Forks. This crossroads wasn't just any location. It tied together supply routes essential for Confederate forces defending Petersburg and Richmond. Losing it would put immense pressure on Lee's army. Sheridan's approach was fascinating, not just a gamble on a single cavalry charge or brute force. He relied on a blend of reconnaissance, rapid reaction, and bold decision-making. On March 31st, when Confederate forces dug in near Dinwiddie Courthouse and effectively split his cavalry, most commanders might have pulled back to regroup. Sheridan did the opposite. He chose to hold the line, later stating plainly, "I decided to hold on at all hazards." A real turning point unfolded at Dinwiddie Courthouse. Sheridan managed to stabilize his lines by calling for reinforcements like Capehart's brigade. His units formed a strong semicircular defense, an impressive feat given their scattered positions earlier that day. And when the Confederate infantry came charging at twilight, Sheridan's men pushed them back with what he described as a shower of lead. Custer's repeating rifles, in particular, turned out to be devastatingly effective. And then, of course, you got the prelude to Five Forks on April 1st. Sheridan's tactical brilliance really shines here. He coordinated with General Grant to bring in 5th Corps infantry, aiming to trap the Confederates at the crossroads. Now, this wasn't a clean operation. There were delays, missed connections, but Sheridan kept everyone moving toward the ultimate goal. It's impossible to talk about Dinwiddie Courthouse without addressing the big controversy out of this battle, Sheridan's decision to relieve General Warren. During the fighting at Five Forks, Sheridan felt Warren was moving too slowly, jeopardizing the entire operation. On the battlefield, decisiveness can make or break a campaign. Sheridan later called this move necessary, though Warren's later court of inquiry paints a slightly, different picture. Either way, it's an incredible moment to reflect on leadership under pressure and the cost of those split-second calls. What's remarkable here is how Sheridan's strategy wasn't just about winning a single fight. By the end of April 1st, the Confederate line was broken. Over 5,000 prisoners were taken, and Five Forks was in Union hands. This victory wasn't just tactical. It set the stage for Petersburg and Richmond's fall within days. Sheridan's ability to adapt, inspire his men, and make those razor-sharp decisions really marked him as a leader whose instincts were honed by, relentless experience. You know, when we talk about the battles of Dinwiddie and Five Forks, the First New York Dragoons hold a special place in those stories. These were not just soldiers, they were tacticians, fighters, and honestly, survivors. Their role in these pivotal engagements, it's the stuff that reminds you why these units earned their place in the history books. So, picture this, a group of horse-mounted soldiers navigating dense woods and flooded terrain, all while being outgunned and outnumbered in some moments. Their grit was put to the test at Dinwiddie Courthouse. While Sheridan's cavalry scattered to hold the line, the Dragoon adapted to the chaos of the battle. In Sheridan's account, he describes how these soldiers fortified positions on the fly, forming what became their strong semicircular defense. General Custer often praised their discipline. I hold the belief that the Dragoons were almost made for moments like this, right? And then there's the human side of it. Reading Sheridan's memoirs, you can't help but sense the exhaustion these men faced, marching all day in wet, freezing conditions only to dig in and defend against relentless attacks by night. It's easy to read about these battles in strategic terms, but you have to realize every move, every decision affected human lives in profound ways. Sheridan writes about seeing faces lined with fatigue, yet refusing to show weakness. That, to me, is valor. Now, as the fight transitioned from defense at Dinwiddie to offense at Five Forks, the Dragoons became part of a broader, brilliantly coordinated effort. Sheridan placed immense trust in their ability to fix Confederate forces, while the 5th Corps infantry moved into position. And the precision in those maneuvers, their use of terrain and timing added a whole other layer to the Union's strategy. Combined arms coordination wasn't something the Union Army had perfected early in the war. By 1865, the Dragoons were a critical spoke in that wheel. Sheridan's admiration for not just their skill but their resilience is written into his narrative. And, there's a leadership lesson here, I think. It's about trust. trusting your men to act with initiative, to hold tight under pressure, and to rise when the stakes could be higher. The Dragoons exemplified this. Their steady presence in such volatile moments gave Sheridan, and honestly the Union Army at large, a fighting chance to bring about a decisive victory at Five Forks. It's these stories, these deeply human moments, that remind us that every soldier on that battlefield had dreams, fears, and a desire to see victory, not just for strategy's sake, but for the people they'd left back home. The Dragoons' contributions were a testament to the resolve that defined Union forces in those final days. So, with the Confederate line shattered and over 5,000 prisoners taken, the victory at Five Forks set into motion a dramatic chain of events. Within days, Union forces completed what had seemed nearly impossible just weeks earlier. The Union Army broke the Confederate grip on Petersburg and forced Lee's entire army to evacuate Richmond. The Dragoons, as part of Sheridan's aggressive pursuit, proved their mettle yet again in these final operations. They had spent days marching, fighting, and outmaneuvering the enemy, and they were relentless in their drive. Confederate resistance lost its core foundation, paving the way for the surrender at Appomattox just a week later. You see, these battles weren't isolated skirmishes. They were interconnected victories built on trust, coordination, and a willingness to act decisively under fire. When historians step back and explore why the Dragoons left such a profound mark, it becomes clear these weren't just soldiers following orders. They were units shaped by hard-earned experience and guided by leaders who trusted their instincts. The maneuver at Five Forks was about using discipline and integration to strike where it mattered most. I think about the human cost, the exhaustion, the physical toll, and yet the unyielding resolve that marked these men's final days in the war. Sheridan himself couldn't hide his admiration. In his memoirs, there's this clear sense of pride for how the Dragoons carried their weight through every turn of this pivotal campaign. It's a reminder that victories on the battlefield are above all powered by the people who live those moments, their courage, their sacrifices, and their shared determination. When we look back on Dinwiddie and Five Forks, we honor a group of individuals bound by a shared sense of purpose. These men brought an end to one of history's most defining conflicts, not with brute force alone, but with strategy, trust, and an iron resolve to see the mission through. That's the legacy of the First New York Dragoons, of Sheridan's leadership, and of the Union triumph we've explored today. I'm Garland, and please know it has been an honor sharing these stories with you. Until next time, take care and keep reflecting on the past. It shapes so much of the present. Cheers for now.